What's going on, San Antonio? My name is Mike Jimenez. It is November 29th here in San Antonio. The chat lines are open on our YouTube page. I apologize for the technical difficulties early on. Fact of the matter is that Joe is the one that produces this show typically, and he's out today. But I'm here to go through, talk about sports talk, things that are pop culture related, nostalgic, and things like that. Our chat lines are open if you want to check us out on YouTube as well. You can subscribe to the San Antonio Sportscast or the Alamo City Podcast Network, if you will, and be part of the show. We're also available on all of the major platforms and things like that. Now, typically at this time, we have a lot of people who are chiming in on our chat. Chances are I did it wrong. So if I did it wrong, reach out to me on Twitter, and I can kind of respond to you that way. If possible. But again, we are live coming at you from San Antonio, Texas. And I'm going to test one last thing real fast. There you go. It is going on. All right. We're live on YouTube, live on Facebook, and we are live on Twitter as well. Again, Joe Garcia is out today because he has a new job. With the new job, he is in training right now, so he's unable to produce today's show. I'll probably be flying solo for the next, I don't know, say about another week or two. I'll be glad to go back to Joe's house and do the show from his studio that he has over there. It's a lot more professional over there. Here we're doing this in my kitchen, and I apologize, but I have 3 dogs running around right now making so much noise. Don't know if you can hear it, but they're acting as though I haven't given them water in days because it is so stinking loud in here. Before we get going, we're going to get into the college football playoff. We're going to get into the Spurs. We're going to get into a lot of various sports topics today. But the thing about it is this, is that I got to address what happened last night on Twitter. I refereed high school basketball, did a couple of games, a freshman and JV level, Lee High School at Stevens High School, which is just down the street from me. I live off of Petranco Road myself. Stevens High School is on Petranco. 12-minute drive, got onto campus, did the games, was perfectly fine. Going to be honest with you, first game, first quarter, I wasn't that great. It took me a couple of minutes to kind of get my eyes acclimated to it all. It was a white jersey with red numbers going up against a red jersey with white numbers, and it threw me off, and it took me a few minutes to kind of get going when it came to it all. But after the game, I decided to take a selfie. And the reason why I'm taking a selfie is because I typically lose around 15 pounds during referee season. Even though referee season goes through Halloween with all that candy, goes through Thanksgiving with all that turkey and pie and all that stuff, and then it goes through Christmas with all the tamales and everything else, I typically lose weight in that time. Now, this year I'm down about 15 pounds anyway, so it'd be cool to say that over a 13, 14-month period, I'd be down 25 to 30 pounds. That would be very, very cool to do. So what I'm doing after every game is I'm taking a photo of myself. It's kind of like a time lapse to see what did I look like before the season started and what did I look like as the season went on. And I posted a selfie of myself that I took after the game. No, this was not during halftime. This was not people in the stands. The game was over. The gym had already been emptied out. And I took a selfie, right? And people gave me so much crap about it. And I ended up getting roasted last night big time by basically everybody. And I found that to be funny. And I wish the chat lines were open right now. But maybe it's good that they're not, because they're not open, I can actually say what I need to say. So let's go ahead and get into this here real fast. Let's go ahead and get into this. People, Mike reaching out, saying he's bored to tears already with this podcast. Mike, screw you. We're just getting going. I miss Joe. What can I say? I miss Joe. By the way, this will also be a shorter than normal podcast because I have a school thing that I need to do with my kid. So instead of going all the way to about 11:30, 11:45 or noon, we're probably going to go to just 11:30 today. Okay, so we need to get into some of this roasting that went on yesterday, because the roasting that went on was a little bit much. Okay, it was a little bit much because all I did was just post a photo of myself, and people went off on a lot of different tangents when it came to it all. Some of the tangents were about they were saying that there should be a roast where topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, all the way down to topic 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, all the way down. I found it to be kind of funny because some of these topics are actually true. Someone said that I'm a basket full of lies. A basket full of lies. That's funny. That's funny. But let's go ahead and talk about what they were giving me crap about, okay? One of the things that they said was, remember that time that I said that I was 1-0 in Fiesta fights? That is an actual fact. I am not a fighter. I'm a lover. I do not get into fights. But the one time I did get into a fight was at Oyster Bake, and I did win that fight. Not only, and it wasn't like, you know, a split decision on the scorecards or anything like that. I straight up beat the shit out of that guy because my first wife was there. I was married to her, and he groped her, and I took care of business. Okay. I took care of business 1-0 in Nyosa fights, or not Nyosa fights, Oyster Bake fights, Fiesta fights. Others saying, giving me crap about saying that I have game. Historically, I do. Haven't been able to flex that in about 15 years, but historically I do. Does that mean I'm going to go to a bar and pick up a girl or go to a club and pick up a girl? That was 25-year-old Michael. That was 30-year-old Michael. 46-year-old Michael has not flexed those muscles in a while. And why would I want to pick up a girl at a bar? Is that really what people do my age? I don't know. I don't know. When you talk about the criticism I had about UTSA football fans, I stand by it. I stand by it. The crowds sometimes suck at UTSA, and maybe it's not the crowd. Maybe it's just the fact that the Alamo Dome is a bad place to watch football. I do not enjoy watching football. I enjoy being with my friends. I enjoy the tailgates and all that stuff. But let's not pretend like the Alamo Dome is a good place to watch a game. I might clap back at Chris Leha saying, dude, it's hyperbole, baby. It's hyperbole. Not everything needs to be taken literally or seriously. Sometimes I exaggerate, but some of the stories that I tell are actual and factual, like TLC said back in the 90s. I did meet Paige Baronic, and I have several photos to prove it. Is she my best friend? No, that was called a joke, okay? But Paige Baronic is a very, 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 very beautiful woman. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of people are jealous that I got to meet her. I know the people that I worked with at San Antonio Sports Star back in the day were jealous that I got to meet her. Just kind of is what it is. Let's kind of get into the topic at hand when it comes to the Spurs, because, you know, I saw a lot of posts on Twitter yesterday about Alperen Sengun just doing so well with the Houston Rockets. And in fact, they're saying that Sengun is probably the better prospect right now compared to, you know, Jalen Green and some of the guys that they've had drafted over the past couple of years. Alperen Sengun, I posted on Twitter earlier today the receipts that I have by the fact that I was a big fan of this guy coming into the draft. In fact, it wasn't just my tweets. It was the fact that Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 was posting the fact that I was big on this guy and I wanted him to be a member of the Spurs. And the Spurs instead in 2021 drafted Joshua Primo. And we know how that happened. Joshua Primo no longer with the team, accused of exposing himself to a female doctor on staff. It's multiple times. Meantime, Alperen Sengun, what is he doing these days? Well, he's averaging 21 points per game, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. The guy does everything, and he does it from a center position. And I find it strange that when I mention this on social media, whether it be Facebook or Twitter, certain Spurs fans get kind of defensive when it comes to the point being made. You know, they say, well, Jimenez, you know, if we had Sengun, we wouldn't have sucked so bad, and therefore we wouldn't have gotten Wemby. In Pop we trust in the Spurs front office, trust in all of that. And that's just stupid. That is stupid. Okay? We're going to give Brian Wright a pass when he whiffed on a draft pick because ultimately that whiff led us to Wemby? Really? We're going to just give him a pass for doing a bad job in prospecting a player. And it goes beyond that. You know, I like the fact that people have been bringing up to me the fact that Popovich didn't want Tony Parker to have a second workout. Remember, go back in time to when Parker was first in the draft process. He wet the bed when it came to practicing with the Spurs and working out with the Spurs. And he didn't want to, the Spurs didn't want to give him, or Pop didn't want to give him a second look. And what did he do? He was convinced by someone on staff, I believe it was Sam Presti, convinced to take a second look, and the Spurs ended up taking him, and he had a Hall of Fame career with the Spurs. Manu Ginobili was somebody that Pop was not interested in. Heck, even recently, he wasn't interested in Devin Vassell. He wasn't interested in playing Keldon Johnson. Take a look at how many minutes they played as rookies compared to Jeremy Sohan or Victor Wembanyama. They didn't play much of anything. So when I take a look at what's going on with the Spurs right now, I am kind of taken aback a little bit when it comes to the direction of the team and the faith that we have in our leaders over there, Pop in the front office, because I don't get it. They're not all knowing. And as I'm taking a look right now, let me see here. I have to see if we're even live right now on YouTube, because that's where we get the majority of our people, and we're not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel this episode right now. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of let's see here. Are we on? Someone type something in the chat if we are live on YouTube right now, because I don't see it when I log on right now. Well, that's what happens whenever you trust me to do something technologically, because I suck at it. So let me see if I can restart this. Stand by. Let's see here. I figured it out. Look at that, baby. I finally figured it out. So my bad, everybody. I know we tried doing this a little while ago, and I realized that I was all alone on the chats, man. I was all alone because no one was on YouTube, because I wasn't on YouTube. So Chris Gonzalez, welcome. Tim Gonzalez, welcome. Jacob, welcome as well. Again, we're going to do a short show today, man. We're going to go for about 30 minutes or so. NYSL Hooper comes at me and says, Boomers figured it out. Yes. Okay, first of all, I blame Joe. Joe has been out for the best part of 2 weeks or so. Probably won't be back for a couple of weeks because he's in training with a new job. I blame him because fact of the matter is that all this technology, Streamlabs and all that stuff, I don't get, dude. I don't get. So yes, Boomer did figure it out. Peter Aguilar coming out and saying, morning, everybody. So raise your hand if you were part of the roast yesterday, because that was pretty brutal, dude. I get roasted all the time on Twitter, but yesterday was absolutely brutal because I posted a couple of photos of myself, a brand new profile pic for Twitter. That got people going because people accused me of being drunk when actually I was sober in that photo. Lots of people reaching out and just talking about the fact that they say that I have a basket full of lies. That's my life, that I tell tall tales and things like that. And I found that to be very, very funny. We're going to get into a lot today. Let's see. Let's talk about the Spurs. Let's talk about the college football playoff. You know, let's get into the college football playoff real fast, okay? Because we kind of debated this on Monday. And I had a post that I made on Twitter that a lot of people kind of got pissed off about. And it was the fact that I mentioned that the Texas Longhorns more than likely are on the outside looking in when it comes to making the college football playoff, getting into the semifinals, and trying to win the national championship. And yesterday I was watching on ESPN Robert Griffin III, RG3, former Baylor star, former Washington star. And he was talking about the fact that he believes that if the Longhorns win and that Bama wins, that he believes the Texas Longhorns would actually make the playoff because they have the head-to-head win in week 2 against the Alabama Crimson Tide. They went to Tuscaloosa and beat Bama. Not a lot of teams do that, especially in the last 15, 20 years. Not a lot of people do that. And Stephen A. Smith kind of raised his hand a little bit and said, all right, Robert, RG3, You believe that in this scenario that Washington would go, or Oregon, winner of the Pac-12. You believe that Michigan, who has to play Iowa, that Michigan would make it. You think an undefeated Florida State would make it, and you would believe that a Texas Longhorn team would make it. So what you're telling me, RG3, is that Bama and Alabama, that there would be no SEC representation in the college football playoff. And RG3 was like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. If that is the toughest conference in the entire college football landscape, and they have two teams that have one loss, the belief that there would be no SEC representation in the playoffs is stupid. So what do you think is more likely? That Texas sneaks in, or the SEC has no one in the playoff? No one? Really? No one. Get the F out of here, man. Come on, man. You guys know better than that. College football playoff got released yesterday. At number 1, you have Georgia. I mean, come on. Defending champions. Of course, you're going to have them out there at number 1. At number 2, you have the Michigan Wolverines. Number 3, the Washington Huskies. Number 4, Florida State. Now, that's the unsexy team. No one wants to watch Florida State, especially with a backup quarterback, make the playoff, but it kind of is what it is. Oregon at number 5, only losses against Washington. Number 6, Ohio State. Ohio State has no conference championship they're playing in, but still, because they played Michigan so well and almost won there in Ann Arbor, still at number 6, and you have Texas at 7 and Bama at 8. Dude, the more I look at it, the more I think about it, Texas isn't going to make the playoff. And I think the fans that we have here at the Lone Star State in San Antonio need to realize that it's not because they're being dissed, it's because there's so many teams that are undefeated. How often do we see this many undefeated teams make a run? And maybe there's going to be an upset. Florida State loses. Okay. Now we're back in business a little bit. But Florida State shouldn't lose. The whole Oregon-Washington thing is weird because the winner's going to get in anyway. Georgia, Bama, the winner's going to get in. You can make the argument that if Bama beats Georgia, that both Bama and Georgia get in there. It is more likely in my head that those two teams make it than no team in the SEC make it to the playoff. Dude, it's going to be so difficult when it comes to the Texas Longhorns making it. Swiss coming out there saying, hey, Big Head, reach out to me right now on the chat line right here. What was your favorite roast of me yesterday? Which one do you want me to address? Because I think they gave like 14 different reasons why I deserve to be roasted. They want to have a dunking booth. That's what Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 says, that there should be a dunking booth and that a lot of money could be raised for charity if I, in fact, put myself in a dunking booth. People would just line up and just throw softballs at it, get me knocked out, right? Get me in the water. Swiss saying, Jimenez, you got so many, man. Name one. What is your favorite roast topic, man? We'll get into it. What is your favorite roast topic? Because I don't get it, man. People reach out to me all the time and they're like, man, Jimenez, you get roasted more than anybody on Twitter. I don't mind it. I laugh at it 99.99% of the time. I laugh at it. There's only been one time on Twitter where someone's pissed me off. And I very rarely, Jimenez State of the Union. That's right, baby. That's what NYSL Hooper says. There's only been one time that someone has pissed me off on Twitter. And I was drunk that day. So you can give me that excuse. And this is actually one of the roasts, right? So I had this one guy who was just like, I was drunk one night and he was just hammering down on calling me a loser. And I don't give a shit if somebody calls me a loser. I really don't. But the guy just kept going on and on and on and on. And then he goes on to say, you're a loser at life. There's nothing that you do that doesn't make you a loser and all that stuff. And I realized, wait a minute. I'm actually a successful business owner. So I kind of make mention of that. I was like, hey, dude, Say I'm a loser at everything. Dude, I'm a success in finance. And oh, you're a loser at everything. And I said, okay, I'll compare my W9, my W2s and 1099s to you. And let's see who the loser is now. I was drunk when I said it, right? But that was my way of just shutting him up. He comes back and says, well, dude, I mean, you're 40-something years old. I'm only 23 years old. And I said, when I was 23 years old, I was in San Antonio as a TV news reporter. I'd made my way back up. And in fact, I was management at a TV station at 23. And I was making good money. Do you want me to show you my W-2s from the year 2000? And of course, people jumped on me about that because they're like, "Oh, Michael, being the second part of Moneybags, the compliment to Jeff Garcia by being Moneybags when it comes to it all." Yeah, if there's one thing that I get roasted on that I kind of regret, it's that statement. But the guy was being a complete jackass. So sorry, not sorry when it comes to all that. But people reaching out saying, okay, that guy must be miserable. I could use $5. Hey, show us some love, baby. I'm entertaining you. You send me the $5. Nah, man, I'm not making a dime off of this, man. Someone asked me about that the other day about the podcast. We do take advertising and stuff like that, but really, that's for Joe. Okay, that's for Joe because a lot of this is his technology. Joe has put a lot of money into a studio that looks really, really nice, into the computers, into the lights, into the microphones, and all that. You can make fun of my equipment. Don't make fun of Joe's equipment. He does a very, very, very good job. Tim Gonzalez reaches out and says, I still see Texas getting in the playoffs if Georgia loses. Bama and Texas are tied. They would send Texas to the playoffs instead of Bama. No, because they have to take an SEC school. Tim, let me ask you this question. What is the best conference in college football? It's the SEC, right? And if the SEC has nothing but one-loss teams, it has two one-loss teams, and it's Georgia, the defending champions, and Bama, the SEC champion potentially, if they in fact win that conference, the strongest conference in football, they've got to take one. In fact, I would make the argument they got to take two. And that's where the outside looking in, because it's just the luck of the draw when it comes to it. I understand the argument from Texas Longhorn fans. I honestly, seriously do. And I do believe that you have the right to be upset. But the thing is that what you guys are looking at is the fact that you're equating it to, it is us against Bama. It is Texas against Bama. That is what the College Football Playoff Committee would be looking at. And it's not. Bama would get in as SEC champion because they're the champion of the strongest conference. The question is, can Texas be considered to be more deserving than Georgia? It's not about Bama. If Bama wins the SEC championship, it has nothing to do with Bama. That whole Bama-Texas game means nothing when it comes to Bama. Does it help Texas? Yes. But ask yourself the question, Georgia loses this game, loses the conference championship. If Georgia has been number one all year long and has been destroying everybody, and then finally loses a game to Bama, 3-point game, for example, on a neutral site, are you telling me that Texas is going to overtake Georgia? Because it has nothing to do with Bama. Greg Castillo reaches out and says, does Texas jump Ohio State as conference champs in the rankings? More than likely, yes. I would say, I would assume so. The problem with Texas right now is that they're going to have to play Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship. If they had played OU again and exercised that demon and beat the team that they lost to, you might have a bigger argument, because you can say, yeah, we're a one-loss team, but we beat the team that we lost to early in the season. That's actually a better argument. But the fact of the matter is that they're playing Oklahoma State, and no one cares about Oklahoma State. David Otwater, roll tide my ass. Chris Gonzalez reaches out and says, Texas needs all 4 undefeated teams to lose their title game. Well, let's see. Oregon, Washington. Oregon's going to get in. Okay, Oregon, Washington. The winner of that one's going to get in, so it doesn't matter. They do need Florida State to lose. That is factual. What happens if Michigan loses? If Michigan loses to Iowa and they're a one-loss team, do you take Iowa? No, because Iowa has more losses. Does Michigan deserve to get in? Can you imagine a college football playoff scenario where Michigan and Ohio State are both out? Can you imagine a scenario where Georgia and Bama are both out, assuming Bama beats Georgia? No. Can you take a position that there'd be a chance that Oregon and Washington would both be out if Oregon beats Washington? They're both one-loss teams. That is the thing, is that the Longhorns are going to have to thread the needle to make their way into the playoff. And there's too many Longhorn fans who are just drinking the Kool-Aid right now, who just don't want to see what's there, which is why I'm pissing people off by mentioning this. The best way for Texas to do this would be for Georgia to win, for Washington to win, Florida State to lose. That's probably the best scenario right there. They need Florida State to lose. Florida State wins, they're out. They're out. Okay, so Georgia wins, fine. Michigan wins, fine. Washington wins, fine, because at that point, you would have 3 teams that are undefeated at 13-0. If Florida State loses, they're a one-loss team. Oregon would be a 2-loss team. Ohio State would be a 1-loss team. Texas would be a 1-loss team, assuming that they win the Big 12 championship. And Bama would be a 2-loss team. So really what they need is Georgia, Michigan, Washington to win, Florida State to lose, Texas wins, they're in the playoff. Any other scenario where Bama wins, they're fucked. Any other scenario where Oregon wins, they might be screwed. Another scenario where Bama wins and Georgia loses, they're screwed. You need 3 undefeated teams and Texas to be the 4th one. That's the only way it's going to happen. That's the only way it's going to happen. So I disagree with you, Chris. I think that the 4 undefeated teams don't need to lose. I think 3 of them need to stay undefeated and reduce the number of 1-loss teams, because Texas can say, we're the conference champion, therefore we should be above Ohio State, who didn't even make the conference championship game. We should be above Oregon because they have 2 losses. We should be above Bama because they have 2 losses. That's the way to get in. That is the way to get in. David Atwater says, Florida State has a backup. They should be disqualified. It's happened before, man. I mean, no one's going to say that Florida State is a top-tier school when it comes to college football. I mean, they're definitively a top 25 team, but do you believe that they're actually one of the 4 best teams in football? The answer is no. The answer is no. So apparently we're down to 8 teams in the NBA play-in tournament, and I honestly don't give 2 craps about it. And I keep seeing all these tweets from, all these people who are really big into the NBA saying that this has been showing that this shows how important it is. This shows how successful this has been. The play-in tournament has been a good thing for those who follow the NBA religiously. For those who don't, the casuals, they don't care. They don't care. Yesterday, the Boston Celtics were playing, and they fouled Andre Drummond repeatedly while they were up 32 points yesterday, because they needed to win that game by more than 22 points to advance into the tournament. And you see the head coach of the Celtics walk on over to the opposing head coach and say, hey, man, we're not trying to disrespect you, but this is the way that the tournament rules work. We need to not only win, but we need to win by a certain point amount, and therefore we're going to be fouling your guy because we need to win by X amount of points. Now, the opposing coach nodded and was like, I get it. So that's it. Lots of people, Nick Mattson saying the Warriors are out. That's right. Warriors are out, baby. Chris Gonzalez coming back to the Texas topic says, if the committee wanted Texas in, why don't they get them ahead of Ohio State? It goes to Texas did a fantastic job of lining up a very difficult schedule. When you add Bama in Tuscaloosa, I mean that should be respected. But the fact of the matter is that what is the more impressive loss? Losing in the last minute and blowing the game against OU on a neutral site, or Michigan beating Ohio State in Michigan and Ohio State basically being 30 seconds away from winning that game. The more impressive loss is the loss to Michigan.
And hey! I'm joining the show with you, making a quick appearance.
I heard. I heard the entrance coming on in. What's going on, my man? How have you been?
I've been good, man. Just going ahead and doing this training thing here, So I'm on lunch real quick. I thought I'd pop in and say hi to everybody. I'm still here. I'm still around. Unfortunately, I just been busy working, so I haven't been able to have Mike here in the studio where we're doing our shenanigans. Oh, I see the dog's inside today.
I missed you. Yeah, man. All three dogs. When the show started, all three decided to hit the water bowl right behind me, and then it was the loudest thing of all time. By the way, this is take 2 of episode 50 because I messed up the first time. I forgot to add YouTube to the stream, so I had to restart this bad boy. But I'm going only to 11:30 because I have to go take my kid some food.
No, that's fine.
My wife and I have separated, and we are doing different things when it comes to the kids, like who has responsibility for this, that, and the other. But my kid goes to 2 different schools, and at one school they provide lunch, and at the other school they don't. Well, today I thought he was going to the one that provided lunch, and that's not the case. But the good thing is I'll be able to go over there, take him out, and we'll go get some enchiladas or something.
Go spend some quality time. That's what it's about, man.
Joe, thank you for not ragging on me yesterday, man. You were not one of the ones that piled on me when it came to the roast yesterday. Dude, the number of DMs I got from people making fun of me, going, dude, why the roast yesterday? Why the roast? I did nothing. I posted a selfie, and the roast was on.
You know how you are, man. You're the most memed person here in San Antonio, man, especially on Twitter, dude.
I like
hilarious.
This post. Nick saying, "Love that hair, Joe. Your hair is getting lush, dude. I mean,
I get the
flowing locks.
That's
flowing locks.
I got to go get a haircut actually this weekend with my son. What's up, Nick? Glad you're watching, man. So yeah, man, I got to go get a haircut, dude.
Every day it's a new roast, dude. The line that was used yesterday was, "I'm a basket full of lies." Which is the tall tale that you believe that I said that you think is so much bullshit that you don't believe it's true?
Oh, that you had Chingles the game back in the day. We all make fun of you on that one, dude. It's just hilarious. We like giving you a hard time, but the thing is like, we give you a hard time and we play around with you, but we do it lovingly. We're not doing it to like throw you under the bus and say, "Oh man, he's full of it." Like, we just play around with the guy, but that had me in stitches, man. Yo tengo Chingles the game.
Back in the day, man. Back in the day, I was perfectly fine. Now, and people are like, well, and you're like this too. When we're out and about, you're like, well, what about that girl? What about that girl? I'm like, dude, I am 46 years old. I'm not picking up girls at a bar, dude, or a club.
Well, the one that said, "I love hot dads."
I will never. I'm 46 years old. I will never step foot at a nightclub ever again in my life unless my daughter wants me to take her. And last week, I almost convinced her to go to the Bonham with me because it was the day before Thanksgiving, and I wanted her to go to a club. Dude, here's the thing. Remember back in the day, you and I are relatively the same age, right? A couple of years difference.
Yeah.
We used to go clubbing, right?
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Like, where would you go? There was
man, we went everywhere downtown. You had Polyesters and so many other little clubs. You had the Atrium. What was that one place where they had the airplane hanging from the wall? I forgot what it's called.
Was that the hangar?
That was by what was used to be. Now it's used in the same spot where the Alamo Draft House is. The Alamo Draft House Park North. It was like Central Park.
Park Place.
Park Place. Yes, used to go there back there. Back in the day and stuff.
Yeah, so I had game back then. Park Place days, Joe's Volcano days.
Oh God,
Madison Avenue days. But me, 46 years old, going, where do we go that one time? Stout House.
Oh yeah, we went several times to Stout House.
Not going to be picking up girls at a Stout House.
Those are barflies, bro. The barflies.
Yeah, dude. I mean, come on, man. I mean, no, man. No, thank you. No,
yeah, we had a little too much fun the last time we went to Stout House, bro.
I like this right here. Nick says, "Wise guy. Nobody wants to be the old guy at the club, dude."
True that, bro.
That is a sad thing.
Going in with your freaking, was it your Hurley shirts and all that kind of stuff? I'm wearing the sunglasses and the gold chains. I'm like, no, man.
Okay, what about me being 1-0 at Fiesta fights? Do you believe I'm undefeated at Fiesta fights?
Dude. I don't know you to be much of a fighter, but you know what? To each his own, man. If you ain't gonna back down, you're gonna throw hands. Just don't get tossed on the ground.
He grabbed my wife, dude.
There you go, bro.
He groped her.
Yeah, that's uncalled for, man. You got to stand up, you know?
Yeah, man. I turned into the Hulk real fast when it came to that, man.
Man, you probably threw your chicken on a stick on the ground. That's it.
Jacob reached out and says, "Got to hit up the hole in the wall bars. Some are like meat markets." Again,
hey, man, you want a hole in the wall? Go to the squeeze in, man. If you know, you know.
Nice. No, my hole in the walls here in town are Roxy's right across from Ingram Park Mall.
Oh yeah,
I like
it's still open.
I like Who's Who, which is on Babcock and Callahan. There's back in the day, I used to go to this one place. Well, there's Rookies, or what used to be called Rookies on Callahan, but there was that one that was Whiskey's.
Oh, it's still there, bro.
You used to get that big ass Long Island iced tea. That was delicious, man.
Schooners, you ever been to Schooners?
It's been a long time, but I have, man.
That place still looks the same, bro.
Joe, I fucking miss you, dude. I miss having someone to talk to.
I know, bro. Believe me, man.
You and I have talked about whether or not this show needs to go back to 5 days down the road. I think that if there's a way that we can do it where I'm in studio 2 or 3 days a week and I'm at home 2 or 3 days a week, I think we can make something happen, even if it's a 45-minute show.
I got ideas for that. I told you, we talked about this. 2 days out of the week where you stay at home and you want to do the show from home. I'm telling you, why not just bring back the MJ Acquired Taste show? We still got everything for it, bro.
We still got everything. We still got
everything.
Well, you know what, man? Get the band back together, man. Get the band back together.
Man. You could have Pitt in there with you. You could have, you know, whoever
and you know what? Back in my so I cleared out one of my the front room coming into my house.
Yeah.
I put new. It used to be a dining room, and it had one of those chandelier lights that kind of came down.
The chandelier.
Yeah, I got that removed. I had lighting put up, so it's like track lighting on the top.
Yeah,
I can turn that into an office/studio.
There you go, man. You know who I miss too? We need to get back on here because I miss playing her intro music. Katie Goodman, man.
Katie Goodman.
We had her good intro. I still have the intro up for her and everything. That 80s vibe that she likes so much. We need to get Katie back on. We need to talk with her. She's a lot of fun. Carolina, too. I miss Carolina. I talk to CT just like every other day. Me and her are always talking. She's one of my good friends.
Yeah.
I miss her on the show, dude.
I do too, man. We need to get it back in full force. And I think the appropriate time to do this is probably going to be after Christmas.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Maybe the start of the year and do it where the way that it was originally designed to be done back in July of this year. You know, I got, you know, I had personal issues that kind of came up.
Yeah.
And it threw me for a loop, but I'm kind of getting back to myself. The blood is back in my face, you know.
Color back.
Yeah, I do, man. And by the way, David Atwater says Rookies and Whiskeys was the spot back in the day. Man. Still kind of is, man. Still kind of.
So it was Barton's Boozery. It was a Marbach staple. It was the jewel of Marbach area, you know, over here off of 90, you know, Marbach area. But it's gone, man. It's gone.
STP11 says, if you're older, go to the upscale dining restaurant bars like Perry's or hotel bars. No, because either A, they're hookers, or B, they're gold diggers. That is what you find over there, man. I'm sorry.
You're going to get solicited at the bar. Hey, youngin'.
Yeah, and if they have a backpack, they're definitely a hooker, man. Those little backpack purses.
What do you need, honey? I got you. You know who used to talk like that? Do you ever go to that bar that was off of Fredericksburg Road? It wasn't the Highlander, but the one that was further down by the mall. It was called Bun Ratty's. And it was kind of like a little English pub or something like that. And the lady, I swear, she talked like one of the sisters from the Simpsons, you know, Marge's sisters.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing today? What do you want me to get you?
Mari
I'm
Vasquez,
like, damn.
that name, Mari Vasquez and I used to go to a Bombay Bicycle Club in that area.
Bro.
God, man, the number of drunken nights I had at Bombay.
Oh, I can just imagine, dude. I mean, our drunken days back in the day, it was, you could recover a lot quicker. Nowadays, we go to the Stout House and the next day, what happens? Bro, I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dragging ass.
and I do that in Vegas. I remember the last time I went to Vegas with my friends, which was a couple of years ago. My wife was talking to me about it because she's calling me, and she was calling me. This was about a year or two ago, and she was like, "Are y'all going crazy?" And I'm like, the first night we got there, we got really crazy. We got all drunk off our ass, and we went up the Strip, and we went to downtown and all that stuff. But the next day, we went to museums, man. We went to the Mob Museum. We went to the Neon Museum.
Gotta get refined, Mike.
We went to Pawn Stars.
Oh yes,
yeah. And she's like, "What are y'all doing?" I'm like, "We're just chilling out, man.
I'm trying to make a deal with the Pawn Stars."
Yeah, we're drunk the entire time, you know. So I'm like every other day in Vegas that I can go get drunk. I can't do it back-to-back days.
Jeez, dude.
I'm like Tim Duncan at the end of his career, you know, party like an all-star one day, but not the next.
I mean, we would have partied real hard. Like if we all get together and we go to Vegas and we party really hard.
Yeah,
I think you would be the guy that would be from The Hangover, the one that we forget about and get left up on the rooftop somewhere, and me and Jeff and everybody else be like, "Damn, man, where the hell did we leave Jimenez?"
Well,
I have clues.
I have time traveled before, man. That's when you wake up someplace you don't know how you got there. Woke up at the Hooters Hotel off the Strip with thousands of dollars worth of chips, about 3,000 in chips, and all these winning Super Bowl tickets. And don't know how I won that money. Don't know how I got there. Don't know how I checked into that room, but it happened. It happened.
You're like, what the hell?
Again, people are going to say tall tale, right? Tall tale.
You know what? We need to put that. We need a segment of that. Jimenez's tall tales at least once a week.
Right.
Jimenez's tall tales. Is it true, or is it it's just a fabrication? And we should have a poll after you say that. And then we'll wait till Monday to see if it was real or it was just fabricated. That would be fun.
Yeah, Hanover Fist says, "Bro, Hooters Hotel closed down. Been there. I liked it as Hooters Hotel. It's now the Ojos Locos Hotel.
Hotel, yeah.
The fact that it went,
saw the fight.
It went from Hooters to Ojos Locos, man. I wonder if
ratchet. That's ratchet, bro. They were showing video of a fight that just occurred on at Ojos Locos here on social media, man. But you know what, guys? I got to pop on out because I got like 3 minutes to get logged back in and start work again. But it was fun doing this again, Mike. I just thought I'd pop in, you know, just go ahead and surprise you, man.
Hey, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and wrap it up right now because together, man, because you know, real fast, Charlie Hernandez says, I had a girl dump beer over my head at Bombay on Fred Road, then got kicked out. I've never had beer dumped on my head, but I've had one time a drink thrown at me. Like,
no, man.
upset woman just throwing it at me. Nick saying, my fish was this big.
It gets bigger every time you tell the story.
Exactly. We're going to do a better job with this on Friday. Like I said, the technology kind of bit me in the ass today. Typically we go till about 11:45, 11:50, sometimes past 12. But I got family stuff I got to take care of today, so we're going to call it a day for today. When we come back on Friday, we'll be talking about, obviously, the Spurs will be back in action on Thursday. Will the streak go to 13? We'll talk about the Cowboys and prep them or preview their games for Sunday. Texans, you know, we'll talk about Texans as well. Lots to get into on Friday. But this has been fun.
Are you going to be busy on Friday in the afternoon? We could actually do the show live from here if you want to do it after 3. I get out right at 3 o'clock. So if you want to, you come on in and we could do it. Do some day drinking.
We'll figure it out, brother. All right, man. This has been fun. Man. See you guys on Friday.
All right. See you, fellas. Bye.